The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning wants to wish you a happy holiday season and wants to let you know that Standard Heating is ready if you face a heating emergency. Their expert team is available through the holidays to make sure you stay warm and safe, no matter what. Become a Smart Club member so that you'll have peace of mind knowing that you're covered for the upcoming winter season. For more info or 24/7 emergency heating services, call 612-824-2656. Comfort you deserve since 1930.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show, Backtracks Edition.
Dudes, Josh, Dana, Wapple.
It took a while to get there, but I was kind of worried. I was on
Have I been doing it wrong?
Is he going to be included in this dude conversation?
That was more of a challenge than it should have been. I'll admit that. But you know I struggle with names at times. And did you notice that I didn't want to look up?
Yeah, that was great.
I could have looked over there, and that might have aided me in figuring out what your name is, Wapple. But instead, I wanted to test myself, and I got all three of the dudes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you self-conscious about how you smell?
Yes.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, we can tell.
You should be.
No, I shouldn't. You guys are full of crap. I am not.
All right. Wapple said yes.
Yeah.
It's very rare. I mean, if it's been a couple days or if I did something strenuous, which I really try and avoid, maybe then I'll think about it, but on a daily basis, I don't.
Dana, self-conscious about how you smell?
No, not too bad, no. I shower regularly.
You shower what now?
I didn't say that right, did I? No. I'm self-conscious about the way I said regularly.
Yeah, because it sounded like you were lying, but saying I said the word close enough where it's not fully a lie.
Just fingers crossed that people believe me.
I guess I would say yes, I am. I don't know if the word is self-conscious. And maybe I don't understand the definition of self-conscious, so whatever.
Do you worry about it? Do you worry?
No, I don't worry about it.
You like to axe yourself.
Yeah, I don't worry about it. I make a point of doing my best to rain gallons of Axe body spray upon myself before I leave the house. And the women go crazy, and the men are jealous. And I throw a lot of deodorant up under the arms. I don't know if that defines me as self-conscious, but and maybe this changes things. This directly deals with millennial men. Are any of us millennials?
Dana, aren't you?
I believe I am, yes.
I think
you are too, Wapple.
Okay. In a survey of millennial dudes, 72% of them said they're anxious about how their body smells on a typical day. 52% of them worry that they have BO and aren't aware of it.
That's what I don't like. Look, I smoke cigarettes, so I know I probably smell like cigarettes.
Sure.
Even though I don't smell it on me. But I can't stand the smell of BO. And, like, if my armpits smell really bad, I can't deal with that scent.
Well,
that odor.
Unlike the rest of us who enjoy that odor. Yeah.
I bathe in that.
I know a couple girls that say they like it. Not when it's, like, overwhelming, but they like a little bit of
Sure,
it.
a little musk.
A little stank.
Just a little dose of it. 59% of these millennial men say they'd like someone to tell them if they smell bad.
Yeah, I have friends who love to bust balls no matter what, and if there's any imperfection whatsoever, anything about me, they love to point it out, and oftentimes rudely, and sometimes where I cry about it later.
Oh, that's great.
So I don't think, I couldn't go a day without, if it was bad, somebody would say something.
We all probably, it crosses our mind once or twice. I only once noticed smell coming off of you, Josh. And that wasn't your fault either. Just like all those semen jokes that you pumped out to start the show, that wasn't your doing. That was by request. And when you smelled like a gorilla's ass, that also was not your fault because it was your 30th birthday and you were drunk as balls.
Oh, man. That's probably the second drunkest I've ever been.
I was having so much fun talking to you that evening, but it was difficult because you smelled like a gorilla's ass.
Yeah.
You were just so drunk and and excited and bouncing around the party. There was a surprise. Was it a surprise party? I can't. Was it
No,
a surprise
it wasn't
or
a
not?
surprise.
Okay.
A friend threw it for me, but she told me it was coming.
It was so much fun. He's racing around the room, talking to everybody and thanking them for coming, and you just built up a froth.
Yeah. Well,
And after a while, it was just, oh my God. Every time you walked up and said, so how am I doing? Am I drunk? I feel like I'm drunk. And I just have to back up. That was the only one time in 20-some, 5, 7, 8 years is pretty good.
Yeah, that's back when I was landscaping too, and I can't remember if I worked that day, and maybe that was a part of it. But,
Sure.
but I do remember sweating my nuts off there, and then we got up on stage and played a couple of songs.
Sweating my nuts off. Yeah, you were.
And we're under the lights, up there. We played a couple of Kiss tunes.
played
Or
a
Def
song.
Leppard. I can't remember what we
Was
played.
it overly warm in the place, or you just?
Well, it's just packed, dude.
Yeah, it was just a lot of people.
Packed-
Okay.
A packed club.
Hey, this is nice. Thank you, Michael. He said, I smell great, especially when I'm asleep and I don't know he's there. That's awesome. That's always refreshing to hear.
Yeah.
It's all those sleep toots.
I got a couple people texted in
I
saying
know a sleep tutor.
Me too.
it's not so much about BO that they worry about, it's their breath that they worry about. I didn't even consider breath.
I worry more about that than I don't really think about anything
That'll
else.
send folks just reeling. Bad breath.
Because have you ever been like in a car with someone and you can smell it, like you're not even really next to them, but you're like, oh man, that
Yes.
person's got some bad breath.
Yes.
I worry that I don't ever want to be that guy.
My old man, the majority of what he took into his body on a daily basis was, the great majority of it was beer, coffee, and cigarettes. And there were some days where he and I'd be riding in the cab of his pickup together and he'd say, so, how's work?
Ew.
And I would go, oh my damn. We're pulling over and we're going to get a pack of certs. You know what I'm saying? We're pulling over, we're going to get some Tic Tacs, dude, because I just smell nothing but straight up caffeine and nicotine. Here's the part of this survey on dudes and their levels of anxiety over how they smell. Here's the part that grabbed me. They asked about the body parts that men are most concerned about smelling bad. And of
Nuts.
course,
Nuts.
You're crazy, dude. I'm not crazy. No, nuts didn't land on the list, Wapple.
Really?
No one cares what their nuts smell like.
I mean, there's only really one instance where you'd care.
What do you care about what your nuts smell like?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
If someone's going to go down there, they know what they're getting involved in.
Are you worried about it right now, Dana? Will you help the guy out? Make him feel better. Just take a little sniff.
Yeah, Waffle, bring him out here.
Okay, armpits, obviously. That's the end of the list for me. When I check myself out, say I haven't showered in a couple days, but I'm going to go out and have a few beers, I give myself a quick sniff test under the arms. If I think something needs to be added, I add it.
Yeah, the old
That's
pit
the
check.
end of the list. That's the end of the list. But they talk about guys worry about how their neck smells, how their head and hair smells. Never crossed my mind once. There are guys who worry about how their arms smell.
Can your arms even smell?
Right.
It's weird.
There are guys who, we got some real anxiety happening
Yeah.
here. There are guys worried about what their hands smell like. Never crossed my mind once in my life. Any of those aside from the old Pitskis.
I understand the hands because of cooking. So, like I hate. There's times where I'll cook dinner and then come here in the morning, and I guess even though I've washed my hands a couple times, I just can't get rid of, like, if I use garlic or if I use onion, gets under the
Okay.
nails,
Fair
stays
enough.
there. I'm like, oh gosh, I need to do something about that. But I don't think anybody else would notice that my hands smell like garlic.
I mean, yeah, you would have had to have juggled garlic loaves. What do they call it? Loaves?
Cloves.
You'd have to, you know what I'm talking about? It would have to be pretty overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're some worried some bitches out there, I guess.
Do anybody here worry about their feet? Short but fat cheese says her husband's feet are gnarly. Even if he takes a shower every day, they're disgusting.
I used to.
Oh yeah, I've got a family with some stinky feet.
I guess my answer to that, Josh, I think I should be. I should be, but I'm not.
I had a bad run where, like, my mom, she likes a very clean house, so she would be able to, she can tell if anybody's feet are slightly off. And so she'd be like, oh my gosh, you're getting the stank all over the house. And she'd make me go into the bathroom and like wash my feet in the bathtub before like coming back to be a part of the household.
Yeah, I've mentioned before, but my college roommate had problems with his feet so much so that there was like orange holes in the bottom. It was disgusting. He would smell up the entire floor of the dorm.
That's crazy,
It was
dude.
so bad.
I mean,
it smelled like I guess I've never smelled a dead body, but what I imagine a dead body to smell like.
my feet, as you guys know, they're train wrecks. They're getting better, but they're still quite hideous and mangled and discolored. But I don't think that they smell any worse than the average hooves. So I probably should maybe think about that a little more, but I don't. Here's a listener with a question. When you shower, do you wash below the knees? Absolutely not.
I do now.
Really? Oh, I do.
I remember we had a conversation on the show probably, 12, 13 years ago. And I had mentioned, who goes below the knees? All the soap goes down there.
Yeah.
And I got lit up so much on text, and people made me feel so self-conscious about it. Now I do.
It
now
stuck
I do.
with you?
I even get my feet, everything.
Yeah, I always do. Let me get the bottom of my feet.
I can't bend at the waist like that anymore, so I never practiced that. Never practiced washing below the knees. Absolutely not. I don't even wash below the nuts.
HVAC delivery, Jesus.
I don't. What am I going to do? Here I am washing my thighs. I mean, who cares?
HVAC delivery, Jesus said he showers twice a day. If he doesn't, his feet, after being in boots all day, could chase flies off a manure truck.
Oh, I bet.
I had an ex who had a very sweaty feet, smelly feet issue.
Oh,
It was
God.
a problem.
Oh.
Sounds like a problem.
Yeah, I mean, she worked out a lot, and she just had the sweatiest feet, and she owned up to it. Like this, I'm not telling stories out of school here, but she knew, and she like felt bad about it, and she would routinely wash her feet because they would just stink.
When she walked across a tile floor, would she leave footprints?
Yes.
God help us. See, here's a good point. Jack Rabbit Jesus texted in saying, and a few other people have said the same thing. It's your clothes usually that have the smell on them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's something I think about for sure.
I feel that. There's a couple shirts where there's just like no going back. Like I'll put them on and then I'm like, I have to check the pits beforehand. And I'm like, I should just throw this away.
I wash my clothes way too much.
I never do.
Yeah, the exact same sweatshirt Nick is wearing right now.
Yeah, you ruined it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, you've washed that thing so many times.
Yeah, the gopher. So it's a gopher, and he's got a hockey stick on it. And I just completely washed the gopher off, and now it's just a gray sweatshirt.
That's
But wait a minute.
hilarious.
My girlfriend says to throw away the gray sweatshirt, and I'm like, why? Why? It's a perfectly good sweatshirt.
Are you wearing your Scene Clean sweatshirt again?
No, I'm wearing a green one.
Yeah, because you had a couple of days of that one.
Yep.
My like jeans, I buy them and then I wear them until they no longer fit, and there's no washing in between.
I never
think.
wash
That's
them.
what I was going to
Maybe every
ask.
season. That's about it. Maybe every season.
I wash them every single time
But
I
See,
wear them.
so do
What's
I.
the matter with you guys?
I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
I'll smell them every once in a
It's
while.
totally unnecessary.
Even my girlfriend says that. She's like, you literally were just at work wearing jeans for like 4 hours. Like, why do you need to wash them now?
I am the same exact way, Wapple. Like, when I do the laundry at home, I've noticed over the last couple months, like, where are all my boyfriend's jeans he wears? Why doesn't he wash these? And I brought it up to him, and that was the first time I ever heard of men, like, he's like, you're not supposed to wash them that often, or else you ruin them. And I was just in disbelief, so I've been asking people, like, how often do you wash your jeans? And they're like, I don't know, every couple months? What?
The answer is never. And it's not because, what did your boyfriend say? You're not supposed to wash them that much because it'll ruin them.
Yeah.
That doesn't enter my mind. It's just, who cares? I don't do anything in these jeans that create any smell whatsoever.
Yeah.
Where do you
guess.
put the boogers, though?
I mean,
Your
I'll-
jeans, Waffle. We put them on your jeans.
I'll
why I
be
have
totally
so
honest
many.
with you. I'll be totally honest with you. I have worn these same pair of pants probably for 3 straight months every single day.
No
Oh,
way.
really?
Oh, I'm-
Maybe it's different for
I'm
women,
in
though,
the
because
same
ours
boat.
are tight.
Well, that's why you wear them more.
I wear these jeans every single day of my life.
I have one pair of jeans, and I'm wearing them right
I was
now.
just gonna say the exact same thing. These is the only pair of jeans I currently own right
My
now.
mind is blown.
You'd wash them if you like went to a bonfire, right?
Well, there are
that's
obvious
different. Or for like
raging exceptions, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously if we actually worked for a living, that's a difference. But just for our purposes here, I'm with Nick. Sometimes I forget you can wash jeans.
Is this legal?
I wash them when they just decide, all right, and they get up and walk themselves to the washer.
Every time I have to, say, I don't know, and it's not often, get down onto the floor. I drop something on the floor. I have to kneel down or whatever to pick it up. I'm waiting for these jeans to just evaporate because I wear them every single day. I don't change. I don't care to. It's not necessary.
I do all the laundry at our house, and I'm like, how is there so much laundry every single day? There's so much laundry to do. And she's like, well, that's your own fault. You always wash your sweatshirts. You always wash your jeans.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong,
like,
dude.
stop.
What's the problem? Just knock it off. It takes a little bit of work off your plate as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I almost have to ask my friggin' wife how to get to our laundry room. I never go socks and underwears once every 3 months. That's about it.
Like this text says, y'all nasty.
Yeah.
I like it. That's from Real Dirt Nasty Jesus.
He's a good guy, that guy. Yeah. Listen to this. What about the skin cells and the mites all over your jeans? Okay. I can live with that.
We
you
gotta
don't
have
see it, you're good.
Skin cells.
That's why I have the mites to eat off the skin cells.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is that a thing? I mean,
The
am
mites
I
are living off
am
the
I
skin
hurting
cells.
anybody with the skin cells and the? I don't
What's
notice.
What's a mites predator? I got to get some of those too to take care of the mites.
Yeah, it's not like anyone's ever like, oh, what happened? Did your uncle pass away? Yeah, the mites got him. I think I'll live. I'll be okay.
If I did anything in these jeans that I thought would be offensive the following day or 2 days later, then I would change them and wash them. But I don't. I'm a lucky guy. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll give them the sniff test every once in a while. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I really don't. I forgot, was that you or I forgot who said it, but I don't think you're supposed to watch them after every wash. Or everywhere.
It's silly.
it's
Silly
bad
and
for 'em.
unnecessary.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to wash them after a wash. That'd just be silly.
Yeah. And, the last thing I'd want to do is to wash my jeans too often and ruin these $18 pair of jeans I got at clearance at Target. These are high-quality denim right here.
I did ask my wife the next gift-giving opportunity for a second pair of jeans, just in case something happens to the first pair.
Yeah, treat yourself, Josh. You deserve it.
I have been called vile.
I like that it was you and not me, and I've agreed with everything you said.
Here's my favorite part of being called vile. And I'm guessing this is in reference to me wearing the same pair of pants for 3-4 months in a row. I've been called vile by Houndsman Jesus. And my favorite part about it, he misspelled it. V-I-A-L.
Oh, great.
Voice to text. I bet.
I don't know. Come on over. Give these jeans a whiff.
Insomniac Jesus said, as long as you change your drawers underneath daily, you're golden.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Oh, every day? Oh, let's not be ridiculous with the every day of changing the underwears. That also was unnecessary.
You ever flip them inside out? Just maybe get a different side on them?
Just turn them backwards.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're out of town, you got to do what you got to do.
I mean, I should show you a picture of our closet, and it's comical what I have and what my wife has. I have one little hanging section and 3 drawers, and she has the rest.
I'd love to see that.
It's ridiculous.
Chicks.
Because she'll, for every temperature, every occasion, whatever, she has something.
Friggin' chicks. That's what it is, Cubby.
The half-assed morning show backtracks.
I was reading about how some folks quit their jobs. Some make an effort to time it out just right, and in a negative way.
Just screw the company as much as they can.
Oh, we could F this place up if we could really F this place sideways if we just upped and left.
Like, what do you mean? Like, what would the plan be?
Exactly.
Oh, just in general?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought like you had an idea of when it would be the perfect time to strike.
No. If we just upped and left, that would be a hell of a deal. 1 in 8 people have strategically timed their resignation to cause maximum disruption for their employer. Timed it out just right, knowing once they leave, it's going to throw things into a panic. Anyone ever done that? Go ahead and text us, 651-989-9393. You've timed out your resignation or your, whatever the term might be, your quitting. You've timed it out because you knew you would bone the company hard.
I've never hated any of my employers enough to think about something like that.
Give it time.
Luckily, I haven't either.
Give it friggin' time. They use this as an example. You're ready to quit now, but you know your boss really needs you at that big sales meeting next Thursday, so you wait until next Wednesday to quit. So here are some more stats from this conversation on folks who time it out right. The most common ways we quit are in person, over email. Those are the most common ways, but 19% have ghosted a boss. No communication, you're just gone. 1 in 10 have also quit via text.
That seems very today.
Texting?
Just ghosting or texting, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that made me think of one when you mentioned the ghosting. I only worked there. I only got through like the training stage at a restaurant. I was a server there, and I got through the training stage, and it was right before 4th of July weekend. And I was like, well, there's no way. Like, I'm not going to end up working all weekend. They put me on the schedule. I think 4th of July was on a Saturday. For like a double on Friday, double on Saturday, double on Sunday. I walked in, looked at the schedule. Nobody knew that I was there yet, and I just walked out and never came back. I was like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, you're the new one, too, so of course you're going to be working that holiday.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, no, hate you.
That reminds me. Yes, you got a text?
Got a text here from a gentleman named Nate. Who said he strategically quit his job when he was younger, right after they fired him. Showed them.
Yeah. Take that. And I'll tell you what, I'm not coming back. That's awesome. That's very funny. That reminds me, we're speaking of live concerts here. We got the show coming up on Wednesday. And speaking of quitting and work and bosses and all that, when I was a young guy, I was kind of running the night shift at a warehouse, and AC/DC decides to come to town, right? And everybody on our night shift had tickets to the show. And I had to tell the big boss, there's not one swinging D who's coming to work next Wednesday or Thursday, whenever it was, right? So, he was a daytime guy, I was a nighttime guy, so I never saw the guy. We only communicated by leaving notes back and forth. So I left a note in his office, and I just said, hey, look, next Thursday, all 6, 7 of us or whatever on the night shift, we will not be coming to work. There was no way to kind of patty cake it. I just said, none of us will be here next Thursday. We're all going to the AC/DC concert. I just left it at that. I was a young guy. I wasn't too worried about it for the most part, but still, I liked the gig. None of us wanted to lose our jobs, but that was the situation. He left a note back, and he was kidding. But at first, I thought, he was kidding. But the note he left me back was, for those about to be fired, I salute you. I thought that was very clever.
That is good.
So anyway, what else is going on here with our work? Folks who quit, okay, the most common ways we quit: in person, over email. Some of us have ghosted. Some of us have texted. Just because you ghost them doesn't mean you're totally gone. More than 10% of us have written an emotionally charged, even though you've ghosted them and you're gone, you then write an emotionally charged review of a former employer on a website. Like they say, for example, Glassdoor. This must be one. I don't know anything about this stuff.
Yeah, that's a website. I think this is the right one that people can go on there and talk about how good or bad it is to work at a particular place.
Oh, here we go. Just like the folks that go out to dinner and then jump on that website and say, well, the staff was rude and the soup was cold and all that crap.
It is weird that you'll see reviews on businesses where it doesn't really make any sense, like the post office or something. Like, who's shopping around for post offices? Like, oh, I don't know. I'm not going to get any mail because it's got a 3 out of 5 Yelp review or whatever, or a Google review. One of my favorites around here, though, and this is, and I can't speak to other companies. This is the only place I've seen it. You know, we've been here so long, I've seen it a handful of times where somebody's like, all right, you guys are effed. I'm out of this place. Good luck without me. And it continues to go on as if nothing had happened. And I've heard people talk that way now, and I think, you know what, anybody could leave and they'd figure it out. They're not idiots running this place. I think they'll be okay. I have no delusions that had I just like, F you, I'm out of here, that the show wouldn't go on.
Right.
I do enjoy that because there's been a few big blow-ups, huge shows of emotion. F you, I'm going across the street, I'm going to take this place down, and it never happened.
Never happened. In any of the examples, it never happened.
And nobody ever went, oh no, what are we going to do?
Right.
And
How are we going to survive?
To that person, but you know, they're professionals running this thing.
Yeah,
they got an idea what they're doing.
It took about a half hour for everything to be figured out. Once this arrogant ass with delusions of grandeur proclaimed that that's the end of this building. Now that okay, big shot. What else?
I want to say before my dad retired, he had one of those jobs where your vacation days would roll over, so you could accumulate vacation days. I think my dad said he had something like 2 months built up. So before he retired, he just took off 2 months.
I love that move when people can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom had like 6 months of sick time built up, and she had the choice of retiring early or just get a check.
Cash out on it?
Yeah, my dad was, they wouldn't let him get the check. So,
they wouldn't?
Yeah, so he just burned all those days.
Back to folks who up and quit. More than half of us have wanted to yell or tell our boss off while quitting, but we held back. Even people who've done it, though, hollered at their boss on the way out. They don't feel too bad about it. 95% of us don't regret anything we've said while quitting a job. All right. Sounds like those of us who have decided to holler on our way out, they still feel good about it to this day. More than 1 in 10 managers claim someone has yelled at them while quitting. But 1 in 10 of those managers, like I said, they didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve that. Yelling at me on the way out. Only 1 in 10. So the others, I guess, felt, yeah, I had that coming.
We saw, back when in our old building, we saw a guy, a coworker of ours, be let out by 2 Golden Valley police officers because they're afraid of his anger. I still talk about it with him today as he is back in the building and has been for a long time.
I'm still waiting for him to cut loose again.
Oh, man, he does have a temper. I do love that guy.
That didn't really dawn on me the first time I read it. Only 1 in 10 managers said they didn't deserve to be yelled at. The other 9 said, yeah, I deserved every word of that.
Yeah, Frankie was right.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I am kind of a douchebag.
God, that would
hate
suck.
myself too.
I'm not the type of person that could fire someone. That would be so tough. And I've mentioned this to you guys before. They're you young people. If you ever walk by the boss's office and the boss and an HR person is in there, keep on walking.
I saw that. I saw that happen. It was some lady I've never known, and she had some fancy clothes on.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was the boss, and they were just, as soon as the show was done, hey, I need to talk to you. And then shut the door. And, oh, boy.
Talk to someone else, not you.
Yeah.
Boy, you're a walking accident waiting to happen. You just commented on the appearance of the HR lady.
Oh, yeah. You better not have said something about that.
Fancy clothes.
What, are you crazy or something? That's the HR lady.
We had a boss who, when I first started, some coworkers were going to throw a party for me for my 21st birthday. And I told the boss, I don't know, months ahead of time, like, hey, just, they had planned this thing. He's like, okay, cool. Well, he put me on the schedule right when they were going to have my birthday party, and I reminded him, I'm like, oh, I had requested the day off. He still had the letter, of me requesting it. And he's like, oh, yeah, you're right, no problem. And then when I left, I guess his assistant at the time, he complained and said, that guy's never working for me again. He was pissed about it. Like, I didn't do anything wrong, right? He got pissed. And then 6 months later, I became his assistant. Working directly underneath the guy.
Awesome.
That's the type of guy he was.
And I'm not sure I follow this. Let me read this to you, and you can tell me what it is I'm saying out loud and into a microphone. Sometimes we hold back just to be nice. 1 in 6 people have lied in their feedback while quitting to spare their boss's feelings. What am I saying there?
You could get the boss in some really big trouble, but you're just like, oh, whatever. I'm taking the higher road.
Well, the boss might just say, hey, was it something specific, or just be interested in why they're quitting. And instead of saying, I hate your guts, the person just said, oh, I got a better opportunity over here.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I could hurt somebody like that.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not fat. I'm aerodynamic, Jesus said. Came to work one day at a garbage company in Connecticut. The FBI raided it, so I quit and moved to Wisconsin.
That must have been awesome.
An FBI raid?
The FBI raided what kind of a joint?
Is a garbage company.
A garbage company?
Interesting.
Well, they were
I
just-
want to know what
This
was
is a
going on.
garbage company.
This is a good... Maybe they were just... I wonder what the hell the FBI would want with a garbage company.
Well, Tony Soprano's front was a garbage company.
Never saw it.
Yeah, maybe they're putting dead bodies in the trash.
Cameraman Jesus said, I turned in a 2-week resignation letter to a TV station I worked at. The next day, they told me to turn in all my gear. Thanks for the last-minute vacation, he said. That's how it used to be around here. And maybe depending on the person, it'd be the same. If you put your 2 weeks notice in, they might think, ooh, this guy's going to F-bomb us on the radio. Let's just tell them, don't worry about it. Today's your last day. Mm-hmm. That doesn't really happen much anymore, that I've noticed at least.
Good luck going on without me. I'm out of here. I'm so happy you brought that up, Josh. That's always been fun around here.
How big does your ego, or how big is your ego that you actually think that?
Well, you've worked in radio for a while. You've seen it.
Yeah, that's the end of this place, because I'm out of here.
High Hopes McGee, Jesus said, my last day at a night shift at a retailer, I spent the whole night telling everyone off. Can't fire me on my last day.
Well, there you go. We had the option to quit before Wednesday, I guess, and now we know how to do it.
You're listening to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show, Backtracks.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning wants to wish you a happy holiday season and wants to let you know that Standard Heating is ready if you face a heating emergency. Their expert team is available through the holidays to make sure you stay warm and safe, no matter what. Become a Smart Club member so that you'll have peace of mind knowing that you're covered for the upcoming winter season. For more info or 24/7 emergency heating services, call 612-824-2656. Comfort you deserve since 1930.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with AutoQuote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Named one of the best personal finance podcasts, The Stacking Benjamin Show with Joe and his friends makes financial literacy fun.
Draymond Green has a podcast. He was asking Mark Cuban why at the beginning of 2024, Cuban sold a huge part of his company.
He's like, did you see how much money I got? I'm sure there's a more graceful answer than that. But dude, I bought it for $200 million and sold it for $6 billion. Like, what the heck? Of course
I don't think it was that much more graceful than that.
Find out more by searching The Stacking Benjamins podcast, wherever you listen.
The Half-Assed Morning Show Backtracks.
Has it been long enough to where I could tell the mouse pizza story again?
Even if it wasn't, that's fun to hear.
Dana, do you know the mouse pizza story?
I do not know this one, no.
Oh, gosh.
Back when I was about 18 or 19, living in a garbage house with my dad, standing in the kitchen. Of course, when you're 18, 19, what do you live off of? Frozen pizza.
Yep.
A lot of that. So one night I'm in my my dad's kitchen. I'm in our kitchen. And you ever get that feeling that you saw something out of the corner of your eye and then you look and it's gone?
Oh, definitely.
And I had that feeling while I'm standing in the kitchen. What was that? I swear to God, I just saw something out of the corner. Well, finally, I did catch what I was seeing. On the stovetop, you got those burners on the top of the sumbitch.
Yeah.
A mouse was popping its head up from the inside of the stove up under the burner.
Hello.
Yeah.
Like what's that old game? Where you
Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole, yeah.
Oh, I just got the chills. I hate mice.
And then, so I stood still for a while, and he popped his head up out from under a different burner. Hey, how's it going? And then he goes back down. And he saw me, saw him. Did that make sense?
Yeah, it actually did.
He saw me, see him. And so, just young and dumb, I set up a mouse trap on top of the stove. And that night, I caught him. But it never dawned on me, I think, until the next day. I thought, oh, wait a minute. I just assumed one rogue mouse ran through the stove on that given night, and he was looking around, and I killed him. End of the problem. It never dawned on me, oh, wait a minute. If there's one mouse running around the stove, I wonder if, there are others.
And that's how mouse pizza was invented.
Mm-hmm. Delicious.
Oh, it's killing me. What's a Big Mac taco?
And so I opened the stove. And took a look. And there were 2 or 3 obvious melted mouse carcasses inside the stove. And then it dawned on me, oh my God, the last 3-4 tombstones that I threw into this stove
appropriate
to eat for dinner were flavored by burning mouse carcass.
Oh. How many months later did you clean those out?
And did you try to market it at all? Maybe get in touch with the Tombstone people and say, I got the next big thing in pizza.
No, I scraped the carcasses out of there.
I would have never been able to do that.
And
vomit everywhere.
My dad and I, we carried on. I do remember the lack of any real concern when I told my dad, hey, the last, 100 meals we've had out of that stove probably had mouse parts on it. He was like, well, that's too bad. So I set up some more traps. That's when I realized that house was more or less infested.
Yeah, I've had that before.
But, yeah, I'll never forget seeing those melted, in some cases you could kind of see the look of horror on the dead mouse's face as he was dying. Kind of like Han Solo when he's
encrypted in carbonite.
They put him in that chocolate bar.
That's what I was picturing.
Yeah, the mouse is kind of like right before he died. The mouse pizza. Yeah, it was one of those moments in life that you never forget.
Yeah, I'm picturing the faces of the researchers in the most recent season of True Detective. Anybody else watch that?
Not yet,
out there
no.
on the ice.
I haven't gotten to the new season. Is that irony that he died by a tombstone pizza?
That would, I believe, you could qualify that as irony. Well, let me see. It's like rain on a wedding day. It's like 10,000 spoons. Yeah, that's irony.
Okay.
I'm going to go along with it, Wapple. From now on, when I tell that story, I'm going to say, would you like to hear a tale of irony? And people are going to scoot up at the bar and say, well, yeah, I've been waiting all night.
Settle in, everybody.
Ooh, those infestations are something else, aren't they, Nick?
Mouse pizza.
Yeah.
Yes. That house that my dad and I were living in, it's a terrible realization, isn't it? When you... And that, then I could tell the story of the mouse and the hockey stick. I could go on, but yeah, when you realize, when someone's probably saying, what, a mouse ran across the floor carrying a hockey stick? No, I'll tell you that some other time.
Mouse rockets.
Mouse rockets, that came later in life. But when you realize your place is infested, it sucks. But I have to say that what followed was great fun. And that was setting up traps all over the house and hearing them snappity snap 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 all night long.
Great fun. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I really enjoyed.
Did it sound like Alex Van Halen playing a tune?
Yeah, I mean, you are what's the word? Masquerading as an HVAC technician with your Apollo hooded sweatshirt.
It could be incriminating.
I
Yeah.
lived the life of a what's the term?
Like a mouse hunter?
Rodent what's the word? Exterminator. I played the role of an exterminator for a while. I enjoyed setting up the traps strategically, again, hearing them pop on and off all night long. And then it was very satisfying when we ridded ourselves of them altogether. That was kind of a fun little couple, 3-4 weeks of my life when I was a young teenage kid.
I've got a buddy. I mean, it's kind of pathetic. His wife has to kill all the bugs in the house, right?
You have a buddy.
Yeah. And so, but on the flip, so his wife is not afraid of any bug whatsoever. It's gross, whatever, disgusting.
This is your buddy's wife, not...
Yeah. I'm saying my buddy.
Okay. Oh, the story sounds familiar.
I don't know why it would. So my buddy's wife, she'll kill anything. Doesn't matter how, like a scorpion infestation doesn't bother.
Right.
But the thing about my wife is that she's not afraid of
See, now,
mice.
you just said your wife. And earlier you were saying it was your buddy.
Check
and your...
the tape. I didn't say that. It's my buddy.
We'll check the tape. So go ahead.
All right, so if we're in my house, his wife will, if she sees a mouse, she'll move out. And it's so strange to me because mice don't really bug me. I mean, him. Oh, no. Now everyone knows. And I wish I was kidding, but if I see a bug, honey, you gotta come get this thing.
Mice don't bother you.
Not at all.
The wife will pack her bags.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not excited when we have an infestation of some sort, but I can handle a mouse, a rat, something like that. Those don't creep me out.
Insects don't bother your wife.
Nope, not at all.
And there is no kind of sex that bothers your wife.
Nothing.
But you will run for the hills.
Yeah.
And so you make a perfect team when
We
you
are
need
perfect
to
that way.
get rid of something or another. You've had real infestations.
Oh, big time. Our current house, it was really bad. Like, we had to get rid of drywall and I mean, we had to pull out, like, okay, I'm going to show my ignorance of how houses work, but you know, like those garbage bag looking tubes, and sometimes they look like something on a space shuttle that will go from a fan to the outside.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
I'm sure there's a term for it that escapes me.
I got a buddy who doesn't know what those things are called either. Did you enjoy the process of elimination, though? Like I was, we obviously didn't have it that bad where the walls were falling down at the house that me and Dad and I were, the house that my dad and I were living in where we were eating mouse pizza. We didn't have it that bad. But did you enjoy the process? Did you hear those late night traps snapping and you get excited to go find the...
You know what we did? And this was a suggestion from the Brotherhood. Because our last house, we're going to sound like we attract mice, but our last house had one too. And an infestation, I mean. And they said, you know what you do is you grab a Home Depot bucket, fill it about halfway, and put peanut butter around the rim. And they said that works. So I thought, well, I wonder how well it can work. So I tried it. Next day, I go to the garage to go to work, and there was like the most deadly pool party in there, and they invited all their friends. The whole neighborhood was in there.
Really?
This big bucket of floating mice.
Did you bring it to work?
That sounds like a nightmare.
I didn't bring it to work.
By the
At
way,
the time, we had a no pet policy.
I got something you can put peanut butter around the rim of. But
my word!
Ouch.
Where was I going with that? Oh, one time I heard the trap snap in the middle of the night, and I jumped out of bed because that was part of the fun. Oh, God, look at that poor bastard. I cracked him right in half, right? You know, sorry if that sounds morbid, but we were trying to get rid of the mice in our house.
Right in half.
One time it was in the laundry room. I came down because I heard the trap snap in the laundry room, and I got one of them little peckerheads just by his back right leg.
Oh, really?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That's the worst.
And when I walked in, he literally went, "Ah!" And he was kind of dragging it around. You see what he's trying to get away from me, but he can't. I felt bad. I cut him loose in the yard.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
But I don't know if that was so nice because now he's wounded and he's out. But I felt bad. That was the one time I felt bad, and I took the trap and him hanging from it out into the yard, and I lifted up the little snappy thing, and I let him take off he kind of was dragging that dead leg behind him, but I felt like I should give him a chance.
I can picture the day you're moving out of that house and you move to your next one, and he's kind of standing there with crutches at the end of your driveway, just giving you a head nod. You will be missed.
Hey, thanks for being cool that one night.
I'm not going to forget you, dude.
Yeah. He's standing there with his little like mouse wife and mouse family.
Yeah.
He salutes you on your way out.
And I say, it's just bros looking out for bros. I'll see you. I write down my new address for him. Come see me sometime.
Dana's right. He's got a new baby, and he's looking at you like, hey, thank you for this. You didn't take his father.
I still remember watching him kind of like scoot across the yard when I let him go. He's like, sweet, I get to get the hell out of here. He probably died seconds later. A hawk swooped down and tore his guts out. But whatever.
That hawk was probably excited about it.
In my mind, I was doing the right thing.
When we were kids, we had the snap traps like that. But my wife, she doesn't like to see any of it, so we had the ones where they go in and then it just locks them in a little mouse prison, which are more expensive. That she doesn't want to see one on her own because we have a laundry chute at the house. And apparently that was great fun for them to jump down that thing. So she pulls the laundry basket out. She would find some. And I really thought we were going to put our house up for sale. She just couldn't handle it.
Oh, man. That's how you do it right there. All right. What was I saying earlier?
You were asking what a Big Mac something was. Taco.
Big Mac taco.
Oh, Jesus.
And that, by the way, we're getting a lot of text going, you can't just say Big Mac taco and not explain what it is.
Fine. Go ahead. Give it to us from start to finish.
You take all the ingredients of a Big Mac, you put them on your flat stone, and then you take the burger meat, put that on top, smash it with a tortilla. Big Mac taco.
Okay.
I never would have thought of that.
So delicious.
So you take a Big Mac and put it in a taco. Seems like that's all you had to say.
Yep.
All right.
Here's a better way to do it. Take whatever a flat stone dorky cooking nerd thing is, throw that in the garbage. You go to Burger, what was it? A Big Mac what?
Taco.
You go to McDonald's, get a Big Mac. Go to Taco Bell, get a taco.
Big Mac taco.
Smash it into your face.
Tape them together.
Use some Riggers tape.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, you poop it out.
Oh, I wish. That's not my story, my friend.
Poor Josh.
Within the next week, you poop it out. Painfully.
Oh, man.
10 to 14 days later.
You guys get gross every once in a while. What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show, Backtracks Edition.
Dr. P. Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
That's 8:26. We're all dialed in here on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Here's a guy whose personality will surely cheer us up on this gloomy day, and if his personality won't pick up our spirits, he can prescribe us drugs that will. Dr. James Parnell, a.k.a. Dr. P. Jesus, is in our filthy radio studios. Text us, 651-989-9393. If you have a question or concern for the doctor. Hi, James.
Hey, thank you for joining me in the Dr. P studios this morning.
It's nice to be here. You really got to invest some money in these things. They're not that great.
Yeah, I'll make some changes.
We're happy to be here, but we could use some better equipment.
I'll get on it.
How have you been?
Doing all right.
How many pickleball games have you played since I saw you a week ago?
A lot.
Yeah.
I completely overdid it yesterday. I had agreed to do something that I thought was Saturday, but it was yesterday afternoon. So I ended up playing literally like 5.5 hours yesterday.
Whoa, man.
I know.
That's too much exercise.
No, it's actually bad. My left arm, I'm left-handed. My left hand was sort of cramping like a claw at the end of the day. Like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, probably overdid it. Didn't quite drink enough water, and yeah.
It's bananas or something.
Wapples had those same hand cramps just for a different reason.
Oh, look at him. Yeah, right now he's clawing up.
Yeah, the secret is to switch hands, right, Wapple?
Yeah.
Stranger.
You gotta pace yourself.
It's always nice to have you in studio, Dr. P. Listeners have been texting in already with their questions, their concerns, things that are right off the get-go. Got a listener who's having problems falling asleep behind the wheel ski. He says, I get my night's sleep. It even sometimes happens in the middle of the day. Any ideas? That's from Felon on Two Wheels. Jesus, sounds like a minor case of that, how do you call it, insomnia. Is that the word?
Well, he said he gets some sleep.
Oh, no. What's the one? Narcolepsy.
Oh, could be that. I mean, yeah, that's a good one.
That's the one I was trying to say. I'm sorry. Yeah, narcolepsy.
Yeah, although narcolepsy, I mean, it's a possibility. So narcolepsy it's a pretty rare disorder where you just suddenly fall asleep. Although if it's happening when he's driving, or that sense when he's driving, the number one thing would be sleep apnea. Someone who's just chronically tired.
Really?
Even though they're asleep overnight.
They're not getting the quality.
Yeah, your body is waking up, and your brain never gets into the correct phases of sleep with the right brain waves to restore how you feel. And so, yeah, I mean,
I did not know that was a sign of sleep apnea.
Yeah, because it just means you're chronically, massively fatigued, and people have it for long periods of time, so they're used to feeling this way. So it's not like it's a sudden change, but tasks like driving or watching a movie. Sitting down and sort of trying to focus on one thing, that's usually when people will fall asleep suddenly. So that would be, there's
more likely than narcolepsy.
More likely just because it's so much more common.
What about hypersomnia? Because my friend Tara, she has that, and it makes her more tired during the day, like very sleepy during the day, and she said sometimes excessively sleepy at night.
I guess I don't.
Hypersomnia?
So, hyper just
not
means
insomnia. But
hyper means more, so it just means more sleepy. I guess I don't know that disorder.
She chugs 5-hour energy drinks to help it out.
Did she make that up? Hypersomnia? The doctor hasn't even heard of it.
She's on a real medication for it and all that.
It's a term. I guess I just haven't really heard it as a diagnosis.
Interesting.
So it could be a number of things, but again, narcolepsy.
Not funny in humans, but funny with goats.
That's what I was thinking of too,
Yeah.
right? Those are cuter little puppies too sometimes, right? But yeah, when you're driving and you fall asleep, it's not so funny.
A friend of mine's grandma had narcolepsy. And I mean, weird. She'd just be standing against a wall. She'd be out. Eating dinner, she'd be out. She would just fall asleep out of nowhere.
Yeah.
How long would she stay asleep for?
Oh, boy, I don't remember. Not too long. But it was, a few minutes or whatever.
False teeth would come flying out of her yap.
She had real ones.
She had real teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And she was upper 80s.
This was the grandma with real teeth.
Yeah.
Because you had one that was always spitting
This is
out
my
her.
buddy's grandma.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Before we leave the topic of narcolepsy, if you have the ability to go to, you folks are familiar with YouTube? I've heard of it.
I've heard of it, yeah.
There is a narcoleptic dachshund on YouTube.
You've showed me this before.
And you will never be the same again. He's so adorable.
Just hyper.
He's running across a field, and then he just.
I've showed people this video because of you, Nick. I love this.
Yeah, and I think I don't know whether that's true in people, but in animals, it tends to happen more when they're excited. I know.
Really?
I know that's true with the goats and dogs.
Okay.
Those fainting goats or something.
Oh,
aren't they?
yeah. I had a couple of those fainting goats, and they were fun to mess with.
But so basically, this person though, they really do need to. They've got to talk to the doctor because
it's dangerous.
It is obviously. It only takes once to, take yourself out and other people. And
oh yeah, that'd be terrible. I've never had that problem, but I got a couple buddies who are just helpless. They cannot. They need pots and pots of coffee. It's a troubling thing. Okay, yes, Josh. I thought
hypersomnia. Ashley, is your friend pregnant?
No.
I looked it up. There was a couple of underlying causes. Does she use marijuana?
Oh!
No. Hates it, actually.
Does she?
Oh, wow.
Does she have jet lag?
No.
Okay, well.
all the time.
I've exhausted everything I found on the internet.
Constantly has it. That'd be awful.
Got a question about caffeine, since we're on the topic of staying awake and whatnot. This is from He Doesn't Mind My Tattoo, She Sus. Does it affect certain areas of the brain more than others?
She have any examples as to what's happening to her?
No, it doesn't say.
And what's her tattoo? I wonder.
I don't know, but whatever it is, he doesn't mind it.
Doesn't mind it at all.
He's cool with it.
Boy, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it, because it keeps you awake, obviously, but it does sort of. I mean, I think it can make people jittery, in terms of motor function. So I feel like it probably affects most of your brain, but that's a great Boy, we'd have to have a neurologist on here, and I'm not even sure they would know the answer.
Well, maybe you could. We do have a commercial break coming
I'll
up.
look that up.
You'll have an opportunity to write that down.
But I wonder what they're wondering. I guess I'm just. But I'll look it up. Sure.
All right, fair enough. Hernias. I'll tell you what, hernias. They look awful, don't they? When they're like jetting out from the.
I love them.
They can be endearing. My wife has one.
It's like there's someone there, and then there's more of them.
I want to get one too, so we kind of have a his and hernia. You know, she's got one, I got one.
Romantic.
Your wife has a hernia. I think you brought this up before. Does she have the bulging this or that?
Yeah.
Where's it coming out of?
Like right above her belly button.
Oh,
no.
Does she have to go and get that figured out?
Nah, the doctor's like, what are you going to do?
Oh, all right.
They're not too worried about
Please, this is from a listener, a text message, and again, the number is 651-989-9393. Please ask Dr. P if it's dangerous that I have a hernia coming out of my belly button. It's sticking right on out. Doctor told me it's not good, but I just want to know how serious it is. I don't want to have surgery.
The doctor said it's not good. I love it. Well, so yeah, an umbilical hernia is basically what that is. So a hernia, just to refresh our memories, is a defect in the abdominal wall, the fascia of the abdominal wall. So that's like the deeper layer that's below the muscle and the fat. And if there's a tear in it or an opening for some reason, stuff from inside the abdomen starts to kind of poke through. So that's what sticks out. Hernias, in general, are not necessarily a problem. The times they can become a problem are if they're very small and suddenly something squishes through there quickly and gets stuck. So that's called a strangulated hernia or an incarcerated hernia.
Oh.
And that's bad. But that's not very common. But it's an emergency. So if suddenly someone didn't have something sticking out above their belly button, and then suddenly they do, and they're like, "Oh, man, I'm in horrible pain, and this thing's hot and red," you got to go to the hospital because you don't want to ignore that.
Hot and red.
Exactly. But once a hernia's been there for a while, the opening gets bigger, and things can kind of move in and out freely. And I'd say generally, for most hernias, it's just a matter of how much does it annoy you?
Yeah.
Does it hurt when you lift heavy things and it just
Some
gets
people
achy?
Some people walk around with a hernia or two for decades.
You really can.
Yeah.
In the groin, they just it tends to be really annoying after a certain point. I had to have one repaired. I got a hernia. It was way early or before COVID, although I think probably I had COVID because I was coughing for like a month or something, and so hard that I gave myself a groin hernia.
Really?
And I eventually had to have it repaired.
From coughing hard.
Yeah.
I can believe that because you're just constantly.
Yeah.
You're going to do that while sneezing one of these days, Nick.
Oh, dude.
Or you're going to get me a hernia from one of your sneezes.
My sneezes are likely to. Something's going to come loose. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So you had a hernia from coughing.
Yeah, and I didn't necessarily need to get it repaired, except it was, especially down the lower it is in your abdomen, there's pressure there all the time, and so it just tends to get bigger and bigger, and you're kind of stretching out that fascia and the muscles that are trying to keep things inside, and so it was really annoying.
So look out, if you have a hernia, look out for hot and red like Bryce Dallas Howard.
Exactly. hot red and suddenly terribly painful. That's an emergency. Otherwise, it's really just, is it affecting your life? Is it preventing you from exercising? Is it that's the general rule. Surgeons are happy to fix it because it's easy for them, and it keeps their OR schedule full. But if you don't need it done, you don't have to get it done in general. Yep.
Keeps their cabin paid for, that kind of thing.
I think it's the most common surgery for sure.
This person says, I have a hard lump on my finger. Not painful, but it's grown to the size of a pencil eraser. Hard to the touch. Feels like it might be connected to the tendon. Should I be worried? That's from Like a Sore D. You can't beat it, Jesus.
I don't think I understand that one, but you don't have to explain it to me.
Is it one of those Cysts.
Well, I mean, the two things that would be attached to a tendon, the most common would be a ganglion cyst.
Yeah, the Bible bump.
Yep. So that's a benign thing. It's basically kind of got joint fluid in it, and but they don't tend to. I mean, they tend to get a little bit bigger and then stay that way. Mm-hmm. Did they say it hurt or it doesn't hurt?
Does not hurt.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a proud owner of a ganglion cyst.
Are you?
Yes.
On your finger or your wrist?
My wristington.
Yep, wrist is probably where most people get it.
And I want to bash it so badly.
You have to use a Bible, though.
Right.
So you know that.
Because that's how they used to correct them back in the day. Someone would just bash you on that cyst with a Bible.
Yep.
But I'm afraid people say that's not the best
No,
call.
no, we don't. Yeah, we really don't recommend that.
What about the Book of Satan? If I use the Book of Satan?
Yes, then it's fine.
Okay.
Yep. No, it's just you risk causing other injury if you're whacking it. Like, jeez, if you thump your oh my god, you know what I'm saying.
Not getting any better.
Yeah,
If you
don't. I'm struggling today. Don't do that.
Just jerk it.
But the other thing that can be on a tendon like that, you can have a tumor that is not a good thing.
Oh no!
So if it's something that's getting bigger relatively quickly, and it sounds like they said the size of a pea.
Pencil erase.
Pencil erase. Okay, so that's getting a little bit large. I would
spank it.
No, don't spank it. Just go have somebody look at it though. It's a rare thing to have a.
What if he sucked on it?
No, that's also not good.
What if somebody else did?
Oh boy, we're going down the toilet here.
What we're talking about? We're talking about a cyst.
Trying to help somebody
Well,
out
it might
here.
not be a cyst though.
We
don't want to assume. Yes, and you don't. If you have a tumor on your tendon sheath, that's bad.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Bad meaning what?
Well, bad that it can be. I mean, something. It's literally a cancer. So, so it needs to be excised.
Okay.
And out of there. Yeah, and there's features to a ganglion that usually, if the doc looks at it, you can kind of tell it's got some characteristics when you examine it.
All right.
Versus a tumor would be very firm. It wouldn't have sort of a sense that there's fluid in it.
Okay.
I would say get that looked at.
We've got Dr. P. Jesus live in studio. He's a real doctor. He's fielding questions from our listeners as we speak. 651-989-9393. Got a big word here for you. Well, then again, you've used some already. Ganglion. And others like that. So you're not unfamiliar. A listener, Boss Lady Jesus, wants to know, what could high prolactin levels indicate? Prolactin.
Okay. Boss Lady Jesus. Okay. Yeah. Well, prolactin is a hormone that is released by pituitary. Well, yeah, by the pituitary gland, and which does a lot of different stuff for us. The pituitary gland controls the thyroid and other parts of your body. But I mean, the most common reason that prolactin would be elevated is if you're breastfeeding. I mean, that's it is the chemical that makes women.
Josh said.
Makes them lactate. My God, I'm really struggling with words today.
You're doing just fine.
Yeah. So if you're not pregnant and you haven't been pregnant, then there's a whole host of other things that it could be.
Are you telling me that we might be telling this lady, the first people to tell this lady that she's pregnant?
I mean, probably. Well,
how excited are you about that, Boss Lady Jesus?
Nice. Well, you would think. I mean, if she knows that her prolactin is elevated, presumably she's been to the doctor, had lab tests, and usually we as doctors remember to do a pregnancy test if there's anything like this.
Right.
Occasionally we might forget, but so it'd be good to know. There are some medications that can cause prolactin level elevations. I feel like we've talked about that possibly in the past. I know that Zoloft, which is an antidepressant, can do that. And there's some other medications that can.
Okay.
A pituitary tumor would be the other thing. So a tumor in the pituitary gland that is basically causing prolactin to be released.
Boss Lady, she just got back to us, said she's not pregnant and has never been pregnant.
Okay. But she has elevated prolactin. So yeah, there's a number of things. It also depends how high it is. If it's just a little above normal, that's not necessary. There is an inherited. It might be like familial hyperprolactinemia, I think.
It's fascinating. You can come up with these things.
Yeah,
it really is.
Part of it, there's different patients I've had over the years. That,
yeah.
But yeah, a woman who just sort of had this slightly elevated prolactin, and it was just that way, and we couldn't find anything else going on, and that ultimately, I think, working with an endocrinologist, that's what she has. And but if the levels are really, really high, that's when you suspect maybe a pituitary tumor, which has to be looked at with an MRI.
Okay. Is it okay if we ever revisit this subject that we refer to it as tough-actin prolactin?
I think that's great.
Okay.
Double D She's just said, I had an allergic reaction to a Halloween costume 2 Halloweens ago. A rash keeps randomly forming. I've been to the dermatologist, gave me a steroid, topical cream, but yesterday it flared up again and spread to my face. The doctor said not to put it on her face. I'm assuming she means the cream. Is there any other suggestions besides an allergen test, since it'll take a bit to get in?
Holy balls. A Halloween costume from 2 years ago is still creating a... Last time you take a Halloween costume off a dead body, I bet.
Yeah.
Or out of a dumpster.
That's a really, really good point. Those are, those should be just on the list of life advice things. Don't take a costume off a dead person or a dumpster. That's hard to figure out. So is the question, okay, the question is what's going on with the rash, or is it the steroid question, do you know?
I think it's what's going on. What should she do? It's going to take a while to get in, it sounds like. So.
Ugh. Yeah, and the rashes on her face. Steroid creams are anti-inflammatory creams. There's also, hydrocortisone is an over-the-counter, hydrocortisone 1%. If you go to the drugstore, you can find hydrocortisone labeled as many different things: anti-itch cream, hemorrhoid cream, various things. But it's a very mild steroid that you really could put on your face for a few days or a week if you're trying to just
blow up your lats.
No, it's not an anabolic steroid. So the anabolic is the one that builds up muscle. It's just an anti-inflammatory. But we try to have people not use stronger steroid creams that are prescription on their face, because stronger steroid creams can cause thinning of the skin and color changes to the skin. So that's why her doc said you really don't want to put this prescription steroid cream on your face. Yeah, as to what, it's hard to understand what would,
Is it possible that it has nothing to do with the Halloween costume?
I would think it's highly possible it has nothing to do with it, because I don't know how you would. I mean, if you get sensitized to something in the costume and then you're exposed to it, you'd have to be exposed to it again. So, nickel allergy is the most common sort of clothing-related, clothing. Well, mostly belts and jewelry related that I've seen. You can get unbelievable rashes from that.
My son just had a rash on his face the other day, and when he went to the doctor, they said something's going around, where they've been seeing mostly kids that have had this type of thing. They tested him for strep, thinking, he's got strep, but he didn't have any on his chest, which, he's had strep in the past and they have a rash on his chest, but.
Sure. So there's lots of viral. That's what they meant, right? A viral. Going around.
Yeah, they said that there's just kind of something going around. They've been treating a lot of people with rashes.
Yep. So there's a lot of different causes for rashes. That's why I guess the thing is, once you if you create an association in your mind, well, it started when I did this costume and then it keeps coming back, but it probably isn't that. So, and it depends what the rash looks like too. Usually a rash from a virus looks different than a contact dermatitis rash, which would be what you would call a nickel allergy rash, or another thing that causes irritation from touching it.
Depends on what it looks like. Well, if there's anyone we'd accept a photo of their rash, it would be Double D. Dr. P. Jesus has planted his ass in studio. He's helping folks out. They're texting in their health-related questions. I wanted to get to this one here because it's a lady with a question about her child. I have a 7-month-old, she said, and the little kid pulled a crock pot off the counter and landed on her head.
Oh, no. Those are heavy.
There's one little mark on her head, and she's acting like her normal self, thank God, but I worry about brain bleeding. Would there be a sign of that? Brain bleeding.
Did you say when it happened?
She did not.
Okay. Boy. It's 7-month-old. Okay, so...
Took a crock pot right to the noggin.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's not good. Acute brain bleeding, which means right when the injury occurred, you get bleeding. That would be bad. You would it would be a worse injury. You would know that. The thing that can happen is, I don't really think of it happening in little kids, though. A subdural hematoma is something where a vein can get kind of torn up in the dura, the layers of the brain, and slowly collect some blood. And it's really more of an old person problem, I think, where over a couple of days they can start to have some neurologic deficits. But in a little kid, I don't know how you would. They don't talk, and this kid's probably not walking. So
7-month-old.
Yeah. I would say it's never a bad idea to take a 7-month-old in to have them looked at.
Mm-hmm.
If the doc's worried, they'll do imaging. It's challenging on a kid, but you obviously don't want to fool around with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is heavy.
Hell yeah.
If the kid pulled it by the cord or something, I'm trying to think how that would have been.
Strong kid.
Right. But yeah, there's no simple way to detect that unless it gets.
It would help you
really
if you
bad.
knew how long ago this happened.
It would. Yeah.
Strong kid or an evil crockpot? We don't know yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Crockpot jumped off there. But yeah, especially with a kid.
You're saying go in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go on in.
I mean, we don't want to assume anything. It's good to get looked at.
Classic Country Jesus has an eyelid that randomly twitches, going on for about 6 weeks, only his left one. I know lack of sleep and stress can cause it, but nothing has changed in my life in that sense, he says.
I know, yeah. I feel like we've definitely had this before too.
Maybe there's bugs in there or something.
Yeah, right.
Are there
exactly.
bugs in there?
Probably laid eggs in the eye. No, almost certainly not. But 6 weeks is a long time.
Dude, bugs have laid eggs in your eyes. Run.
Right. I mean, you do think fatigue, stress.
Can't dehydration do it too?
I guess it could, although to one eyelid.
Does your eyelid twitch when you're dehydrated?
What about intoxication?
Yeah, once in a while it does.
Intoxication.
My eyelid twitches sometimes.
Oh, your eye closes altogether when you get buzzed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could. If so,
I'm very flirtatious.
People think you're winking at them.
One side of your face just gives way.
Yeah, my face droops. My left half of my face gets drunker before my right half of my face.
Yeah. And you wonder, I'm just trying to think about, did they say how old they were or anything? We don't know anything, right?
No.
What was his name again?
Oh, no. Classic Country Jesus.
Oh, he's old.
He's old?
Yeah, he's old.
He is old? Okay. Yeah, I mean, some people who have...
he's like 40.
Oh, gross.
Oh, man, yeah. Do we take questions from 40-year-olds?
You have to answer louder.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what's the point? They're on their way out anyway. So you die with a twitchy eye. Big deal.
Give him some peace in his final moments.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me come up with a real simple answer. No. So if people who have sort of droopy eyelids, we accommodate. I have a little bit of that. We accommodate for it by kind of using our forehead muscles and keeping our eyes open. And if that's worse on one side, maybe that's an issue. Again, it's so many different.
Helicopter fixer she just said she had that, but it turned out it was a pinched nerve in her neck. She saw a chiropractor for it.
Oh,
a twitchy eye.
Twitchy eye.
That's. I mean, I guess it's. Well, is it possible?
Classic
Country
say it's possible. Jesus got back to us. He's 35.
So he's not old. Okay.
We will now answer your question.
Yeah, but I think the things I've usually told people to try, just assuming it's just muscle spasm for whatever reason, trying a warm compress on there, even massaging the muscles around the eye socket and sort of trying to figure out, is it just like any other kind of muscle spasm anywhere else in your body? If it's not stopping though, yeah, I mean, you got to have somebody look at it because is there something weird going on with the lid? There could be. I mean, there could be something going on with the facial nerve. Things like Bell's palsy, which maybe you've heard of, that causes drooping of an eye or drooping of the face, but sometimes a similar sort of thing can cause other weirdness with a nerve in the face.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
No, there's nothing simple that's going to answer it.
No. By the way, the crockpot lady got back to us. This happened yesterday, so you'd probably stick to that advice of if you haven't taken the kid in yet, you might as well go ahead and do it.
I would, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
right, yeah. It's hopefully they'll be like, this is fine, but you absolutely don't want to ignore it. Yeah.
She says the little girl is acting like her normal self, but she did ruin lunch for everybody yesterday. I'm kidding. She didn't say
okay. I was like, boy, a full crock pot would be even worse, especially with hot food in it. Should I respond to that caffeine question?
Take her on in. Take the kid in. Yes, the caffeine question was what again? I forgot.
Well, I think it was, does it affect certain parts of the brain more than others?
Right.
I believe that was the question.
Yeah.
I would say it probably doesn't. It really kind of globally affects the brain because it does. I mean, it can help cognitive function, your ability to focus. It can make some people feel calmer, but it can make some people feel anxious, which means it's affecting sort of your personality type parts of your brain, and motor function too. So it's globally affecting the brain. I think there's arguments about whether it is good or bad. In moderation, it's probably fine. People with migraines, caffeine can help resolve a migraine, but if you have too much of it, it might cause migraine. I mean, there's all sorts of things like that. Yeah, caffeine. What is I can't even think the over-the-counter, sort of combination medicine that's got like Tylenol, aspirin, and caffeine in it. Why am I blanking on what it's called? But
what was that? What was that popular pill when we were young? Junior high kids at my junior high, they thought they sounded cool because they were taking blank. It was like a caffeine pill.
No dose?
That's it. I think that was it. Yeah, no dose.
Yeah,
Never heard of those.
That's just high dose caffeine. That
Were you talking about Excedrin?
Excedrin. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Nice.
There you go. All right,
my mom takes it like candy.
And Ashley knows a lot about drugs. She's
Actually,
our go-to.
my mom gets really bad migraines, and Excedrin is the only thing that fixes. She's even tried medications from the doctor, and she said Excedrin is the way to go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Excedrin is aspirin, Tylenol, and caffeine.
You've covered damn near everything, Dr. P.
You've said too much.
Probably.
We always appreciate you having. We always appreciate you swinging by, and our listeners appreciate your help.
Yeah, great questions today. Tough stuff.
Yeah. Got you thinking a little bit.
Did.
You could probably use some caffeine.
I need some more.
You are drinking a cup of coffee right now.
I did polish it off. Yeah, I mean, I certainly have caffeine every day, but those rules don't necessarily apply to me. So.
I've heard it can be good. I've heard caffeine can be good for you. Right? Is that not true?
In moderation, I think you said,
I think it's. I mean, you can.
Well, anything in moderation.
Yeah. I think what do they say? A couple cups of coffee a day is probably absolutely fine and may help. May help brain function and just kind of focus and all that stuff. Yeah.
What's your personal Mountain Dew record again, Josh?
In one day?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I don't even know.
It was pretty sickening there for
gallons.
a while.
Yeah, for a while.
Sickening.
Dude, I would drink every morning 2 liters here.
Oh my God.
For many, many years. I would bring in 2 liters.
That's
and I still drink them during the day. Yeah.
Woo.
It was ridiculous. It's so good.
It is
so
good.
I had to slow down.
It does taste very good.
People had an intervention.
Yeah, that's good.
I got a call from Pepsi going, all right, we appreciate it, dude, but this is getting ridiculous.
You need to get some help.
You got to slow down.
Other people want some of this stuff.
Dr. P, you old fart, go rest your body.
I know, seriously. I know. I'm going to go lay down,
you're
cover myself
up.
with ice.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, not good.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning wants to wish you a happy holiday season and wants to let you know that Standard Heating is ready if you face a heating emergency. Their expert team is available through the holidays to make sure you stay warm and safe, no matter what. Become a Smart Club member so that you'll have peace of mind knowing that you're covered for the upcoming winter season. For more info or 24/7 emergency heating services, call 612-824-2656. Comfort you deserve since 1930.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
You met Lala Kent on Vanderpump Rules. Now Lala and her friends share everything on Give Them Lala.
Bagel, everybody says I say that weird. It is ruined my proposal story. How Jason proposed, and she was like, he brought in a bunch of bagels. I was like, I have to stop this. I will punch you in the throat if you ever tell this story again and call it a bagel. Let me tell you, now when I tell the story, I go, he went and got breakfast.
There you go.
Bagels.
Yeah.
Watch what Lala is talking about on YouTube or search for Give Them Lala wherever you listen.
KXR, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
The part of Cumulus Media they don't want you to know about.
The home of the half-assed morning show. This is Minnesota's 93X.
Dana, you big childlike bastard, you.
Yeah, what'd I do now?
We're going to start in on you right away.
Oh, God.
Oh,
I can only guess what this is about.
You big nervous sumbitch. We're gonna start in on you right away. Dana, you have to pay closer attention to your work.
Okay.
You got to pay a little closer attention. Doesn't he to his editing? You got to pay a little closer attention to your editing.
Every once in a while, sure. Can happen to anybody.
It can happen. Doesn't happen to me or Josh, but it can happen.
The point is, it could.
Could.
Just never does.
Never does. I rolled into the studio this morning and gave a quick look-see at an article that Dana found that hopefully would be, on-air worthy. Hopefully it would be something that we could turn into a good live conversation. It's called Show Prep, Ashley. You should look into it at one point or another.
Whatever. Just out here wasting trees.
It's an industry term. It's called Show Prep.
Now, here's the thing.
I'm taking my paper back.
You just said she should look into it. With her lack of prep, she's never going to look into it. She's never going to know what's going on around here. We keyed.
So I gave this article a quick look-see. And by God, it is. It is something that we could turn into a good live conversation. All you have to do is read Dana's headline. Here's what I read when I sat down. Dudes are now injecting their dogs.
Oh, no.
Hang on. Dudes are now injecting their dogs with plasma, and a lot of Minnesotans are doing it. So I said to myself, my damn.
Good for you. Good for you, Nick, because I saw that and I deleted it. Because I thought, what are we going to talk about dogs getting injected with plasma for? And I just realized, did he mean dongs?
I just realized now that he meant dongs, too. I thought, but I was different, Josh. I thought, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Why are dogs getting injected with plasma?
Yeah, I went the opposite way on that.
Josh read the headline and gassed the article immediately.
I thought, there's too much to read around here. Dogs getting injected with plasma. Let's move on.
Maybe possibly if Dr. Andrea Johnston, our veterinarian friend, was on her way in this morning, maybe you run that by her. Doesn't surprise me that Ashley thought that would be on-air worthy, where Josh said, what the hell are we going to talk about? Plasma and dogs. But what happened here, so then I read the opening line in the story, and it said, cosmetic surgery isn't just for the chicks anymore. It's becoming more common for guys to explore procedures for improving sexual health. And then I said to myself, what in God's name does that have to do with our dogs?
Yeah, and plasma.
Is Dana having sex with dogs? Why would he? And then it dawned on me, just a simple misspelling, what you meant to print in that headline.
I should have shimmied that N in there, shouldn't I have?
Yeah.
Is dudes are now injecting their dongs with plasma, and a lot of Minnesotans are doing it.
I'm glad you kept reading. That's great. That's much more interesting than what I thought it was going to be.
Maybe what that proves, Josh, that I continued reading to where you eliminated the article immediately, that probably speaks to how much the differences we have in free time, maybe, where you need to quickly move the hell on from something that you perceive to be stupid because you've got lots and lots. Maybe I don't have quite as much.
Well, here's a lesson for me. Read the first. If Dana sends something, it could just, the headline could be completely boring, but then read the first line because it might be something fascinating.
Right. Not dogs. God help us, I don't think any of us are injecting our dogs with plasma to improve our sexual health.
The dogs are safe. I promise you the dogs are safe. The dongs, on the other hand, might be at risk.
Dongs, peckers, wads, tallywhackers.
I've had my penis injected before for a procedure.
I was threatened recently.
Oh, you were?
I was.
That somebody was going to inject your penis?
Yeah, well, you go ahead and tell your story first, and because I'm familiar with this. You were injected not that long ago. Tell us about the pain levels. Tell us about the whole experience again.
You guys know what an erection is, right?
Yeah, currently have one.
So they needed that for this particular procedure, which is humbling and embarrassing.
These were professionals that needed the erection for a procedure.
They claimed to have been professionals. It was a brand new van, so I'd imagine it probably was.
They had the uniforms and everything.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was me, my urologist, who is by the way, he's an awesome, hilarious guy. And it's weird to say I have a urologist, but I had to go a few times.
You got a regular guy.
And then there's 3 nurses in there, which was embarrassing. Now, luckily, they kind of weren't looking. One staring at the screen as he has to measure what I got going on. Thank God they do it in centimeters.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I've never learned that.
It's a big number, though.
No, I mean, like on a ruler or whatever, I just say, you got the... Well, I was going to say 4 inches. All right. You got the 8 inches and then a couple of little marks above that. That's about as far as I go. So they set it in centimeters.
Centimeters creates a much larger, more impressive number.
But to get me there, they had to inject me. And then...
What was that like to take a needle to your special purpose?
Well, intimidating the size difference.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, this is really dwarfing my penis. It was it was a little nerve-wracking, obviously.
Pain range.
Not bad at all. The prick to the prick wasn't bad at all.
Comparable... compare it to the swab ski.
Oh, you can't even compare.
Not
that
comparable.
Swab is a nightmare.
The swab is the worst thing.
This wasn't bad.
Damn near the worst thing that's ever happened to a penis was when they invented that godforsaken swab.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the clap or whatever it's testing for than get that swab. But so then he hands me an iPad and says, I got a movie on there for you. Why don't you watch that? We're going to step out, right, to try and get things going.
Yeah.
And I had asked him, like, well, what if nothing happens? He's like, oh, trust me, something will happen. And he was right.
How fast was it? Was it like go gadget boner? Like
No,
boing?
that's what I thought. I thought it was going to be he injected it.
Were any of the office personnel in the movie?
No, but Dana, your mom was.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So you sat there. I know you've told this story before, and I hate myself. I think my memory is going. But this is quite a moment for you. You don't watch adult movies. You're against that kind of thing, and you think that people who enjoy adult movies, you think that they're deviant animals.
No, that is not true. I've said that before. I am not a kink shamer whatsoever.
No, he's not. I'm joking. So you sat there and with your little pee-pee in a porno movie in the doctor's office?
Yeah. And then you're in this situation. I'm afraid to say right away, because it happened pretty quick. I needed to give it a little time. Like maybe I was a little more studly. Like it's not going to work instantaneously on this bad boy. You're going to have to do more than that to get me going right away. But I didn't look at the movie. It worked pretty good. But then I thought if I'm in here too long, they might think that I'm going for it on myself.
You're enjoying it.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I did have to ask. Has anyone ever done that? And,
boy, what a moment there where you molest yourself until you've gained, what was the word you used again earlier?
An erection.
You molest yourself until you gain an erection, and then you holler through the door, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, I had to do that. But the moral of the story is Dana's mom makes pornography.
Right.
It's true.
So I was recently threatened with a shot to the privates. I went and saw my doctor recently for a completely separate issue. But then, you know how the doctor will come off now and again as he's wrapping things up. He said, anything else on your mind? Is there anything else you're worried about? And I said, well, actually, maybe I should haul it out for you here, son. Because there was something or another on my brajola.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little something or another. Kind of looked like a bump, like a lump, like a stump, just a little something. And I said, what's that? You know, I brought it out for the doctor, and I said, what's that? And he said, oh, it's nothing. It's just a little something thing there.
That's kind of what I had going on.
Yeah.
Similar.
Remember years ago when I was convinced I had Hennepin County's all-time most grotesque case of genital warts?
Yeah.
This is twice now I've gotten lucky. This is 10, 15 years ago. Oh, God, I was convinced that my sex life was completely over. I looked into my pants one day and I said, oh, Jesus, I finally did it this time. I was just covered in, it was horrible. I looked on the internet and I said, it's genital. Because what I had going down there it looked like what I saw on the internet. I said, those friggin' gals in Ely, they got me this time. I got genital warts, and I went to the doctor and I said, look at this. And he said, no, it's not genital warts. It's like just this skin thing. You could have gotten it on your elbow. You could have gotten it on your knee, but you got it on your friggin' brajol.
You were just lucky.
And I was lucky that time. I was lucky this time, too. So I hauled it out for the doctor. This is just recently. I said, what the hell is that thing? And he said, it's totally normal. It means nothing. And he said, there are two options for you. He said, I can stick a needle in it, and it'll go away immediately. Or you can just let it chill there for however long it feels like living on your penis, and it'll go away on its own. And I said, I will take option B.
Yeah, I think I would as well.
Of course, yeah.
Now, that could have been worse. You were piercing something. For me, it was just, I'm assuming he picks a non-painful area just to get things going down there.
Where did he give you the shot?
Right on the side of my weenski.
Oh.
Right there on the side of my dog, Dana. Right there on the side of the dog.
So where we...
Good boy.
Yes. One wire nut Jesus said, on the topic of you, Nick, being afraid you're losing your memory.
Oh, Jesus.
He said they say that the memory is the second thing to go as you get older.
First is pecker strength. First is hair. What's the...
No, he said he can't remember what the first thing is.
Oh! So where we started here was poking fun at Dana because he misspelled a word in his show prep. Instead of dudes are now injecting their dongs with plasma, Dana tried to tell us that dudes are injecting their dogs. But it's really dongs. And I think we have heard about this before. It sounds familiar to me. It's called the P shot. Does that sound familiar to you, Josh? I thought we'd gone down this path before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Botox. I think they inject.
That is what they call it. Yeah. They shoot you with a big, sharp needle. They throw some plasma and some Botox into your pee-pee. And it's supposed to improve erectile function, enhance your sex life, blah, 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 on and on. You've heard the story before. But I guess, furthermore, Minnesotans are lining up for this. Minnesota bros are down with the P shot. We rank 9th in the country when it comes to hauling it out for a doctor and allowing him or her to stab you there with that plasma. Costs around $1,600 for him to stab you violently. From what I understand, it does take some force. The doctors do have to wind up quite a bit.
Running start.
$1,600. It depends on where you're at, how much this stuff costs. If you're in Massachusetts, it's only $500
Dang.
to be stabbed in the penis.
You think that's something you want to skimp on? You know?
Oh, I'll take the cheap sumbitch. I'll take the discount stabbing. I will.
I'm a little worried.
Again, if I was in my 20s, I'd be worried now. I don't know, whatever. For whatever reason, if you're in the state of Virginia, it's $2,600. Well, whatever. It doesn't give you any size. It doesn't fatten it up or anything. It's just all this idea that the plasma and the, what does this say again? I've heard this before. The platelet-rich plasma and the Botox will just have your friggin', your pecker just jumping around town again like you're a senior in high school.
Dana, did you read anything about, is it like a one and done situation?
No, it's kind of like just like Botox, you know, where you kind of keep freshening up.
You can go in every once in a while.
I was going to say that's a pretty good deal for just a one and done situation, but yeah, that's pricey then.
Let me tell you something. Over the weekend, I hooked up with some old high school buddies, guys that I don't see very often. Had a lot of laughs. And one of them, my damn, is he loyal to that Viagra.
Oh. How did that come up?
Well, a bunch of old guys sitting around drinking beer, you know.
It's bound.
It's bound to come up. We all, you know, someone said something about their wife or their sex life or something, and one dude said, you got to get your mitts on some of that Viagra. I mean, he went on and on about it for 20 minutes or so about how he just, it saved his, I shouldn't say it saved his marriage, but he said, you know, he said his wife loves every second of his Viagra habit.
My friends are very open about their sex lives. So none of them must be on Viagra, because I'd imagine then they would have brought it up.
You would have heard about it. Because you've told us stuff about your friend's sex life. So I imagine, like you said, if they were on Viagra, that would be a topic of conversation.
I don't know. Some guys, you know, everybody's different. Some guys are very willing to bring it up, like my pal that I was hanging out with on Saturday night. There are probably plenty of guys out there who don't want anyone to know about it. They look at it as, you know, they're less than the average man, that they need that assistance. I mean, it depends on who you are. But this one pal of mine, by damn. I mean, I next time I see him, I expect him to be wearing a Viagra ball cap and a Viagra home jersey. You know?
So he's somebody who needs it, not that just wants to, you know, add a little extra.
Last longer.
Well, he must. He didn't give any details, and I mean, we were all probably laughing and enjoying ourselves so much, no one bothered to ask. I don't remember if he was clear on why, if it was, you know, he absolutely needs it or he just decided to try it. I'm not 100% sure. But he said, you know, he and the wife are just wrestling around the house like it's New Year's Eve. Me and another guy that were at the table, we admitted that we're a little nervous about those kinds of things because both of us have heart conditions, and I don't.
Oh, yeah, I would be careful.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know any facts at all about Viagra and the heart or any boner medication and the heart. I've just heard stories that it could be a little iffy, but that's as far as I could go on the topic. I've just always heard maybe if you have a heart issue, you should be careful.
I just remember this dude that we had on air years ago, and he said he overdid the Viagra and he couldn't get another erection for a very long time.
It was his first time he was ever with a woman.
Yeah.
She told him to try it.
That's freaky.
Let me go ahead with this now because I ran this story by my bro that night. I said, I have heard one really bad story about that stuff. And again, this was like Josh said, this was a kid called our radio station. Maybe it was during a damn Dr. P segment. I don't remember. But he said the very first time he had sex, his girlfriend and the two of them decided that he should take a fistful of Viagra. Well, whatever, young people doing stupid things. He did. And tell me if I'm wrong, Josh. And let me take back what I said a second ago. I don't know that it was Viagra. It was some kind of hard-on.
That's what he said. It was Viagra.
Did he? Okay. Mm-hmm. He popped a bunch of these pills, and if my memory serves me correctly, it killed his ability to get an erection for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my.
That's right. And again, it was he lost his virginity, so it was you'd think after that, hey, things might start rolling.
I mean, he was 18, 19 years old or something like that.
Oh, he missed the prime years. That's so heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was.
Too bad.
When we talked to the kid, well, now he's not a kid anymore. He's 39 years old. He said, "By damn," is what he said.
I bet he's really good at everything else.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah. He probably
had nothing else to do.
It took me a second.
This dude's got more oral sex blue ribbons on his wall.
He's got the strongest jaw in Minnesota.
Yeah. I mean, blue ribbons, trophies.
That's incredible.
So, Minnesota boys, everybody's doing it. They're getting the plasma and Botox shot into their gear.
Ashley?
Yeah?
Question.
Yes.
So we were talking about how painful the swab is.
Uh-huh.
And supposedly they don't do it anymore. I've heard Both. I had a doctor tell me they don't do it anymore. I told Nick, don't worry about getting STD test. My doctor just had me pee in a cup. He said, we don't do that anymore. And he kind of laughed at me when I told him I was afraid of it, and Nick got the swab. That was not fair. He used me as a conduit to pass on bad information to my best friend in the entire world.
God.
And so I inadvertently caused your penis pain, and I hate that. I hate that.
It's horrible. You've apologized for this over and over again, and I accepted your apology the first time. It was a horrible experience for me. I mean, I was skipping into the doctor's office.
I was excited to tell you.
Yes, you told me because I was a little concerned. I'd been a little aggressive lately. I was slutting it up pretty badly, and I asked Cubby, my best friend, do they do the swab anymore? And he says, no. Hell no, that's medieval. No, you just pee in a cup. They take a whiff of it. They know what STD you do or don't have. So, I mean, I was dancing down the hallway. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
I think I talked you into getting tested.
Yeah. And I said, give me every STD test you can come up with. What do you got? I can handle it. Because you don't do the swab anymore. As the doctor comes into the room with the giant swab and he says, get it out.
It takes two people to carry it in, actually.
He held me down by the throat, and he just snaked it.
He's terrible.
He goes, you slutty son of a bitch, I knew you.
Oh, my gosh.
So it was horrible.
It feels like there's lava in there.
Yeah.
It hurts so bad. Well, the reason I bring it up is because angry postal worker Sheezus says, the swab is bad. Try getting that speculum up there every so often.
That's absolutely awful.
Is it real? Okay, I knew it was uncomfortable, but it's painful?
Oh, it is incredibly painful. I have, purposely gotten out of it so many times, even though I have been due for one for probably a couple years now, because I just don't want to. It hurts so bad.
Oh, no. I'm sorry to hear that.
And it doesn't matter, how much sex you've had or, if you use tampons versus pads or whatever, because girls try to make me feel better. It's not that bad if you've had other things go up there, but it hurts a lot. I don't like it because you don't want it. So your body doesn't relax at all. So you're just tense as heck.
I hadn't heard that before.
The weirdest part, though, the first time I got mine done, I got a really nice woman. She actually made sure she heated it up. Some doctors haven't done that for me.
Blowtorch or whatever. Yeah.
But she had freezing cold hands, and it was kind of adorable because she started at my knees and worked her way down so that I wasn't afraid. She would just go for it.
Yeah, you don't want you to be jumping up out of the chair when.
It was like a little bit of foreplay. I thought it was adorable. It's you could just go for it. This is kind of more awkward at this point.
She's slowly walking her fingers up your leg. Yeah. I know my hands are a little cold. Don't want to scare you.
Disc golf champ Jesus said, you ain't lived until you had a camera shoved up your pee hole. I have had that. Oh, my
gosh.
Josh has had camera crews up there.
I had
sound guys.
Everything.
He's got a boom mic.
It's just not
There's a van. The boys in the van are doing all the work. Right.
Yeah, I had a gerbil band. That crawled up there. Yeah, I had the same thing. I had a bit of a cancer scare, a bladder cancer scare, and so they did that. Now, I don't want to discourage anyone from getting checked out. It's obviously important. I can tell you that was uncomfortable.
Yeah. I've heard some stories.
They numb you up and all that kind of stuff. And I remember my urologist, which again is weird that I can say my guy. He's like, isn't this fascinating? Look at this. Your bladder, it's never seen light. And here we are, we're looking around. I'm just like, hey, can we skip the tour? This is really cool. Uncomfortable.
He tried to make it fun and interesting for you.
I'll watch the video later. Let's just end this as quick as possible.
Hey, wow, look at how light it is now. It was a minute ago, it was dark.
That's never seen the light of day.
And if you look on the right side of the bus,
you'll see Josh's ovaries.
Just ignore the screaming and crying.
When the hell did you get ovaries? All right, well, we got to get going again. But anytime we're talking penises, and especially when we head down the route of aging penises and the idea of medicating them so they can function properly, it always makes me think of one of my favorite moments ever at my neighborhood bar. I was just wandering around on a Sunday afternoon, and there were three old-timers sitting at a table. Two of them are dead now. Miss you, boys. But the three of them were sitting at a table, and the oldest one gets up on his feet. And that was a process. At the time, he was in his 80s, and he's getting off. He's been sitting on that bar chair for a while, and he gets up off his chair, and he's like, well, that ought to do it for me. And the other two old boys said, where are you going? And he goes, ha, I got a date. And everyone in the bar kind of chuckled because he was legitimately going out on a date as an 85-year-old man. He was going out with some lady. And one of his old buddies goes, assault with a dead weapon.
The half-assed morning show backtracks.
There's a douchiness to them.
The 93X half-assed morning show.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning wants to wish you a happy holiday season and wants to let you know that Standard Heating is ready if you face a heating emergency. Their expert team is available through the holidays to make sure you stay warm and safe, no matter what. Become a Smart Club member so that you'll have peace of mind knowing that you're covered for the upcoming winter season. For more info or 24/7 emergency heating services, call 612-824-2656. Comfort you deserve since 1930.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
O'Shea Jackson Jr. and TJ Jefferson bring their unique take on sports entertainment with No Contest Wrestling, with guests like WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry.
What is that night like for you as world champion?
I remember getting in my hotel. I'm looking at the chair with the title on it, and I remember crying. I couldn't believe that it was in my room and that I was sitting here looking at this title like it was a person.
The No Contest Wrestling Podcast, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network, wherever you listen.
The 93X half-assed morning show.
What in the actual are you guys doing?
On 93X.
I have to admit that I was trying to think of, a different route to take on the topic when Josh brought it up off air, that it was masturbation month. I don't know, maybe this proves that I'm completely twisted, but this thought just came to mind. Again, I was trying to come up with a different kind of a conversation. Anytime jack off or Jill off, I want to keep the ladies involved, of course. Anytime a jack off or Jill off conversation kicks in, someone, even sometimes a listener, tells a story, texts us and tells a story of when they got caught tugging as a teenage kid by a parent, right? Happens all the time. Those stories get shared almost instantly whenever masturbation conversations kick in.
And what a terrible thing for both parties.
Right.
I wouldn't want to be on either end of that.
See, that's where I'm going with this, Josh. Now, see if you can wrap your head around this. I'm sure you can. It's almost always a story of when someone gets caught touching themselves and as a teenage kid by a parent. What if you got caught tugging one loose as a parent by one of your teenage kids?
Ooh, that'd be far worse.
If you're a parent, Josh, and you are a parent, is there any way to ever be able to recover from that?
I don't think so. I mean, if the age and your relationship makes such a difference, because in the first scenario, I would rather be the teenager caught by the parent.
Right.
Because I don't ever want to catch one of my kids doing something like that. Now, when you get older and the roles reverse, I would much rather catch my kid I don't even like to think about it, versus being caught myself.
Okay. Yeah. So you say the answer is you don't think there's ever any chance to recover from that as a parent?
No.
As the teenage kid, also traumatizing, horrifying, I'm sure.
But this is such a delicate topic because now let's go back to me as a teenage kid.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to be caught by a friend. That would be mortifying because you know what's going to happen to your reputation. I mean, It's different now. Now it's different. But back then, it was very taboo. Now, today, I would much rather be caught by a friend. Like if one of my, but I don't think it'd be that big a deal. I think thuld probably say, "Oh, hey, I'll come back later. What do you need? Just a couple minutes? I'll just wait in here."
Yeah, long
can
session?
I grab a Fresca while you're doing? What do we do?
If you were a teenage kid today, you wouldn't even really care. You wouldn't think twice about being caught by a friend because it's just a wide open conversation nowadays. So if you are that parent of a teenage kid and your teenage kid catches you, total role reversal, right? Do you divorce your partner and just move out and begin a new life under a new identity?
You have to. You have to.
You'd consider something like that.
Or
just fake your own death.
That's pretty dramatic. I was thinking of something a little less dramatic, okay?
I would fake my own death.
That's one option.
I'm never coming back from that.
Faking your death. Okay, come on. That's a little too far-fetched. So option number one, you divorce your wife or husband and you move out and you begin a new life with a new identity. Or do you maybe frame the teenage kid for a crime they did not commit to get them removed from the family equation?
Both are reasonable solutions to that problem.
Doable, I think doable as opposed to faking your own death.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could do that too. Just move to Bali or something like that, and live life as a shamed masturbator on the beach there.
That's what crossed my mind. I was trying to find maybe a new path to take on the topic, and that's what crossed my mind. Maybe it's sick, twisted stuff, but
I think I'm a pretty good friend. Because
I know you are.
The times that I caught, and these weren't really friends, and more co-workers and an acquaintance at college. I never said a word for years. I didn't say anything. I didn't even tell my other buddies. I didn't race out and say, you wouldn't believe. I didn't say anything. And those people no longer work here anymore. And that's when I started bringing it up.
You are a good friend. A lesser man would have gone on air with that the next morning.
No, you're a nice person. You're respectful. You don't want to see anybody. You don't want to be the source of anyone's pain.
No, or get somebody fired. I mean, you shouldn't be jerking off at work.
Right.
I mean, or chilling out, whatever. You shouldn't be doing it. And maybe if you're doing something like that, you might be a normal person who just had the urge and couldn't help it. You had to get the poison out. But you might be a psychopath, which is the case with one of the guys we work with.
Oh, okay. See, I lost myself for a minute there. I thought you were referencing solely catching your college acquaintance. And you kept that secret. That does make you a good bro, a good friend.
He's the only one that knew I caught him, by the way.
Okay. If I were you back in the day here in the radio station when you caught two separate guys masturbating at work, I would have instantly told somebody.
Yeah, I would have told a lot of people.
Would you really?
I'm going to be honest.
Yes.
I didn't want them to lose their jobs.
I wouldn't have cared. That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
You should not be touching. I just got a text from a guy, former haul truck Jesus. He says, I got caught jacking off at work last week. Why are you doing that at work?
I can't imagine.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
I would say I had a medical emergency and then, go home or wherever your safe place to do that is.
I'm not saying you did anything wrong because obviously you did not. I'm just saying if it would have been me and I would have caught someone here at work with their effing gear in their hand, I would have told whoever I thought needed to know, we need to get rid of these people.
Well, I mean, this was 24 years ago.
24?
In one case, and then the second was maybe 23 years ago. So maybe as a much older person, I'd handle it a little different. Maybe I'd actually say something to him, like, dude, what are you doing? You can't do something like that here. But, yeah, I just didn't say anything. And they didn't know I caught him. It was one of those things where between the studios, there's glass, and when it's dark in one studio, you can't see in there. And I never turned lights on. We used to have mailboxes in one of them. And I walked in to grab something, and I just happened to see a motion that I recognized as masturbation. Looked over, and I see some dude looking at porn on the work computer going for it, and that happened twice.
Oh, man.
Here's Brewers and High Life Jesus text in the program this morning. You can always get a hold of us. We're at 651-989-9393. He says, I've seen several videos where the stepdaughter catches the stepdad. It's fairly common. And that is usually how it plays out the same way in real life. But I haven't found any text messages just yet where a parent was caught by their teenage kid. You know, we were talking the role reversal. How do you recover from such a thing? How do you feel like you're still an authority figure in the house?
Yeah, it's just so tough. I'm rewatching the show Breaking Bad. It's about meth dealers down in New Mexico, and there's this guy who's kind of like the cleaner, and nothing to do with masturbation. But if you need a new identity, you bring this guy like $50,000 in cash, and he gets you all set up. I could just picture you going to a guy like that. He goes, "Did your kid catch you whack?" "Yep, kid caught me whacking. I gotta get a new life. Thank you very much, sir."
He's got a whole tier of service for that.
Yeah,
it happens that often.
The kid catches you whacking a program.
I think trying to come up with, what do you say? And as a parent, that's tough, right? Certain situations, like, well, how do I handle this? What do I say not to screw them up? How do I help them along? But also allow them to deal with their own situation. It's not easy.
Total disaster. Total nightmare.
Yeah, and I think it'd be tough to if you catch them. Like, how do you approach this? Other than, hey, it's natural. We maybe lock a door. Maybe don't do that in the middle of the living room. That kind of thing. The stuff you're watching is a little concerning. We won't tell your mother. But yeah, the other way around, I would have no words. I would have, other than, what'd you do? Or somehow blame them.
Yeah. Why are you coming in here?
Look what your mom made me do.
How do you tell your kids to do something after they catch you doing that?
Right.
Well, like Nick said, you've lost all authority.
Yep.
Right. You have to take them on a shopping trip or something.
Oh, yeah. Christmas better be good for a while.
You can just the kid holds up the phone. "Dad, I can make a TikTok right now describing what I saw."
I think I do nothing but just huff carcinogens and pray for the death.
Now, this is so simple. A text message just came in from a character that calls himself Correctional Officer Jesus. We're not talking the parent-teenage kid scenario anymore. He's just in general terms, he says, if you ever get caught masturbating, all you have to do is look them in the eye and say, "Oh, hey, I was just thinking about you."
That'd be terrifying.
That's a good line. Depending on who it is, of course.
Yeah, national or whatever it is. Global Masturbation Month. Here we go.
I'm trying to run down the list of people who still work here on who I think I could move past catching or getting caught by, or who it would be very difficult.
The people here in the building.
Yeah, who I think, if they caught me, I could get past it, or vice versa.
Okay. Is it a long list?
It is a long list.
It's a long list.
Yeah, there's a couple on there. Like, if it was Ashley, either way, that would be very difficult for me to move on.
Yeah, I was going to ask if I was one of the difficult ones.
You'd be the most difficult, I think.
Yeah.
If that happened, that would not be good.
I wouldn't be able to speak to you ever again.
No. If we walked by each other in the hall, we're both looking straight down.
100%.
Ashley, for you, that would be a lot like maybe catching a dad.
Yeah, that would be
but I don't know, why did I say a dad?
me.
That would be like catching your dad.
Oh, that'd be a nightmare. Nope.
Yeah, I'd feel the same. It'd be like catching my daughter or something like that. I can't even imagine. It's like from some of you, I just would expect that. Dana, for sure you.
Not again, Dana.
Wapple, possibly. I think Wapple and I could get past that pretty quickly.
I think we might join in together.
No, we wouldn't do that.
Back to back.
I love you to death, but I don't think we'll be doing that.
Darn it.
All right, now. This is the closest I can. This is the closest that I've found to the bizarre sick scenario that I brought up earlier. I said, whenever a masturbation conversation kicks in, there's usually someone who says, "Hey, when I was a teenage kid, I got caught by my parent." Well, what about a parent being caught by their teenage kid? How do you navigate that? This is the closest I've found from listeners texting in on the topic. Pole Totin' Jesus caught his stepdad tearing one loose when he was 15 years old. Here comes Pole Totin' Jesus. He's 15. He catches his stepdad touching himself. I immediately closed the door. Oh, we made eye contact, he says. I immediately closed the door, walked out of the room. The next day, my stepdad said something along the lines of, If a guy ever tells you that he doesn't masturbate, he's either lying to you or he hasn't figured it out yet. And Paul Toten Jesus closes out his text by saying, we never spoke of it again.
Bad timing. Jesus caught his mom in the tub using a dildo.
Oh, no.
And,
How do you move past that?
He said he has not entered a bathroom without knocking in almost 30 years.
I mean, is arson on the table at that point? I would never be able to walk in that bathroom again.
No.
Did he mention his age?
He did. Well, he said it's been 30 years, so I guess I don't know how old he is. But.
Oh, no.
That reminds me, a buddy of mine, his wife's toy fell under their bed when they were out for the day, and it was making noise. And their daughter went up to investigate, like, what the heck is that sound? And found it. And luckily, she wasn't old enough to realize what it was yet.
Okay.
So, but I wonder if that's one of those things where later on it'll sink in and realize, oh my, I think I found my mom's vibrator when I was a kid.
Definitely.
You piece it together, walking through a sex shop. Wait a minute.
Wapo, you haven't heard a word anyone said ever since Josh mentioned the dude who caught his mom in a bathtub with and she was using a dildo. I wonder if from outside the door it sounded like she was teaching swimming lessons in there or something. Just splash, 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 I said.
Mom, are you drowning?
Yeah. Oh,
Shower
my dick.
rescue?
This person says, you weren't masturbating, you were just cleaning it and it went off. That's what you're supposed to say. That's actually the first time for me. That's what happened. It was not intentional whatsoever. Like, how the hell did that work out?
And did you say you felt really guilty about it too?
Oh, dude, that has never changed.
Yeah, okay.
Never changed.
I'm just reading the text again that you read a couple minutes ago, Josh. Not only did a listener catch his mother in the bathtub using a dildo upon herself, but he goes by Bad Timing Jesus. Yeah. That is bad timing, dude.
Yeah, I think you earned that name.
Well, what in the hell? There we go.
You never get, I wonder if there's a good timing Jesus that walked in on someone that would be wonderful to catch them doing. And they had the perfect timing. It was a complete accident.
Good timing Jesus has a story about how,
either hot neighbor or
Janet Jackson was in town for a concert, and he happened to find her in a bath. That's what happened to good timing. Bad timing sees his mom in a bathtub with a dildo.
At least we know the origin story from his name. That's cool.
Yeah, what if there was something worse that led to that name?
Oh, no.
There can't be.
Then I just want to give this guy a hug.
That is absolutely...
Mouse and Jesus caught his dad in the act. Wait,
Okay.
Caught my dad not in... Okay, I'm sorry. I read that wrong.
Oh.
Caught my dad not in the act, but he was full wood in the flimsiest boxers when he walked into the house too quickly. He caught his dad doing that.
What was he doing? He
just was standing. Maybe he just got up or something. I don't know. He just found his dad.
Oh, the kid entered the house too quickly. I thought he was saying his dad walked into the house too quickly, and I was going to ask, well, why does your dad have a boner on his way into the house?
Oh, he just got to pee or something.
Truly unbelievable.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93X.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning wants to wish you a happy holiday season and wants to let you know that Standard Heating is ready if you face a heating emergency. Their expert team is available through the holidays to make sure you stay warm and safe, no matter what. Become a Smart Club member so that you'll have peace of mind knowing that you're covered for the upcoming winter season. For more info or 24/7 emergency heating services, call 612-824-2656. Comfort you deserve since 1930.